What's up, YouTube? So today I kind of want to just make a short little video talking about my opinions on kind of the vacuum and the classic physique division, where it's headed, and some of the past results and everything. So that's literally just gonna be me sitting here talking. If you want to hear it, move to the next video. But before I get into that, I've been planning for like a long time, trying to get, you guys have seen my website, I've had some stuff come up, I've had some apparel come up, and I've been trying for a long time to organize a like transformation contest, like a shred contest. So we're gonna have like a few options of like categories you can enter, a basic and a pro option that you can come in, and one will just be like entering into the division or into the competition, and the other one will be being like coached by me, diet plan, training plan, everything. Like you can be in contact with me throughout the week and all that. I'm debating doing some like live videos and stuff, talking about it on a private website or Facebook or something like that too. And so basically people will be able to enter, and it's gonna be pretty fucking cheap, I think. Very fair prices, and there will be prizes. There'll be some cash prizes. I'm reaching out to Gymshark, Movement, Beat Kicks, and MHP. They're all gonna be giving away some stuff as well. So the top like 4 or 5 people are going to be winning prizes based on who has the best transformation. And I haven't decided how I'll pick the winners yet. Obviously, like if there comes a lot, I'll pick the top 10 or 15 maybe, and then I'll do like polls on my Instagram stories, like a voting thing, so let you guys actually vote for it, which would be kind of cool, I think. So if you guys are actually interested in something like that, comment below anything you guys would like to see in it, any suggestions you'd like to see me get through it. I want to get it out within as soon as possible, honestly, because I wanted it to kind of be something that could be like leading people up to summer, to get you in shape, to get you on the right track, on the right program. Not so much like a crash diet to get lean, but like learning the process and the lifestyle of dieting and training to get lean, and then continuing that throughout the summer so we can be shreds and look good on the beach all summer long. So yeah, let me know if you guys are interested in something like that, and anything you'd like to see in it, really. Like, I don't know, I have a lot covered. I've got pretty sick prizes. I think there's gonna be a cash prize for the winner, and you get coached by me for a few weeks to try and look good, and at the end there's a chance of winning. So like, it seems like there's some good shit coming out of there, and should be good. So yeah, I'll get to the video now. It kind of sparked after the Arnold, obviously, was George Peterson coming out ahead of Steve Lorius. It kind of made this all blow up, which it's been talking about for a little bit, but that kind of sparked it. If people don't know, at the end of the show when George Peterson won, Arnold went up to him and asked him to hit a vacuum. He's like, oh, I love classic physique, like let's see you hit a vacuum. And George doesn't hit a vacuum, he can't hit a vacuum, so he tried, sucked in a little bit. That's not George's forte, couldn't do it, whatever. And people thought Arnold was making fun of him, or like kind of like jabbing that he thinks we need more classic in the classic division. And I don't really know or care what Arnold was thinking in that aspect, but I think the fact that it attracted so much attention and so much people started wondering whether Arnold was chirping or not means that people are kind of thinking the same way, thinking maybe this division isn't always representing the most classic physique in first place, as opposed it's just awarding more muscle, like little bodybuilders, etc., etc. So I guess Nick Strength and Power made a little video asking people if they thought that the vacuum pose should be a mandatory pose for the classic physique division, and that started a lot of drama. Obviously, it's like forcing it onto people, I guess you could say, if it were a mandatory pose. And he wasn't saying it had to be done, but like if you couldn't, it kind of, you get docked points. He was gonna have George on a show, I know, who bailed and went on with RX Muscle, I guess. Bad timing, whatever happened. RX Muscle made a post, I'll show you. They said that they're doing an interview, what they think about whether or not the vacuum push should be mandatory or not, and they got Breon and they got George Peterson on the panel of people to talk about it. Both people who cannot hit a vacuum, don't like hitting a vacuum or whatever. Well, everyone keeps saying Breon can hit a vacuum, which sure he can. I'll show you a picture of me beside him not hitting a vacuum and him hitting a vacuum so you guys can see that. So I guess he can hit it, but he just doesn't. George kind of can, doesn't either. So it was just kind of, the point with it was a bit of a biased panel on there. So my comment, I'll show you that too, was just kind of stirring the pot a little bit. I got nothing against either of the guys. They're both amazing competitors, but I kind of felt it was a little silly to have them on there. So I just threw in my little comment, little slight jabs, because why the hell not? Let's have a little fun, right? I would never say anything bad about someone else's physique because I have nothing bad to say. We're all on this stage because we're all amazing. Good bodybuilders, we've earned it. But what gets awarded is what I think should be classic. But my point to all this is I do not at all think that vacuum should be a mandatory pose in classic physique. That seems a little bit silly because some people, yeah, they just can't do it and it doesn't look better on them, whatever. So in my opinion, it's not so much that they need to hit a vacuum to look classic. People bring up people like Flex Wheeler or Bob Paris. They couldn't hit a vacuum and they're like supposed to be the epitome of classic physique and some of the best bodybuilders of all time. I think more of classic physique is just about structure. It's something you can just look at and tell. And almost always it's someone who has a long torso or a long waist. Whether with a vacuum or not, it just looks elongated and then they have flaring lats from that. So instead of having like a short looking like a guy walking around like that, like a little bodybuilder with no neck, compacted little guy with your waist might be small but it's short and then it just kind of comes up into lats. It doesn't come up long and then jet out with like a high lat insertion that flares out a lot. So personally I think that's more what the classic physique division has, and I think that's what people are missing in physiques like Brian and George Peterson, who are both short. Being short has nothing to do with it, it's just your structure. They both are smaller, their waists aren't exactly long and skinny, but they're small still. They're just not as small as other people's, I guess you could say. So my camera just died, my bad. Don't even remember what I was saying at that point when it died, but I want to reiterate that nothing I'm saying is like bashing the physique of like Brian or George. I'm only bringing them up because they've been the topic of conversation online and they were the ones in the interview with Dave on RX Muscle. So those are just the people in the limelight right now. Lucky them. They get to be talked about a little bit more. But yeah, again, in talk about standings of shows, let's say like the Arnold this year, with George winning, I have nothing against him winning. I believe he should have won. He deserved the win, like absolutely. Steve was obviously the Steve Laureus was the one people were arguing about who could have won, should have won, whatever. But the fact is, I'm 90% sure Steve is way under his weight limit that he's allowed to be. He's much taller than George, so he has more weight to put on, and he hasn't filled it out, whereas George has filled that out, which does put him at a disadvantage. Yes, you would like to say that should only be really worried about in bodybuilding, open, 212, whatever, but we are judging physiques, muscularity, and everything like that. So you can win by having a classic physique, you can win by having muscular density and more muscle mass on you and being leaner, whatever, but it's going to be that whoever has the better balance, the more of one, less of another, is going to win. So Steve had way better physique, way more classic physique. George had way more muscle, and he just had way more muscle to the point where it overtook Steve. So if Steve is able to fill out that weight that he has, I think no one's going to be able to stop him. I think he could win the Olympia for like fucking 10 years and just kick us all out of the way. So which, saying that, means this might be my last chance to ever want to know if he puts that on in a year. But he's an amazing competitor. He looks crazy. I see the full potential in him for sure. And even in regards to the Olympia, with Brian winning every year, he has always been the most complete guy showing up. He doesn't really have weaknesses, you could say. People say his midsection and chest, I guess. I've heard online, but I honestly don't see that. He might not have the best things, but he doesn't really have anything bad. So absolutely he has deserved the win. Even this year, I showed up so off. I had such a shitty prep. I could have easily seen George coming ahead of me because of how watery I was from being fucked up and sick. So I mean, anything can go anyway, but if you have the perfect structure but you're not lean enough like I wasn't. I don't even have perfect structure, obviously. I'm very self-aware too, so that's why I don't feel bad talking about other people's stuff. I'm extremely self-aware that I have a shit back and shit arms that will probably never be very good. My back will be able to slowly put some density on it, but my arms are just like, the more I train them, I can literally see that the insertion of my bicep like retracting even higher. Like literally there's no bicep for like 4 inches here. There's no muscle there. So that's just kind of shit luck for me. Whereas Steve has the whole physique and none of that. My point is, no one's gonna be perfect. Whoever can show up with the most best stuff is going to take it. And being someone like my age, where I'm only 20, I was 23 years old at the last Olympia, I believe I have a lot of room for improvement and a lot I can do with my physique, whereas a bunch of the other guys are kind of in their mid-late 30s. So it should be interesting to see, but all respect to George and to Breon and to Steve, because they all got crazy physiques. They all got better backs and arms than me, that's for goddamn sure. Most of them got more muscle packed on their frame than me, so they deserve their win, absolutely. And yeah, classic physique is obviously a hard division because there's no definition for classic. It's just something you kind of have to understand. I said this to someone the other day, it's like abstract art when you can look at it and like you can just tell if something's good or not in art because it looks good or it doesn't look good. Classic physique is kind of like that. You just look and you just know when it flows. It doesn't look too like aggressive and just like, you know, there's just little aspects to it. Like I said, the long waist, flaring lats, like longer quad with a high sweep instead of like low quads that drop over your knees, stuff like that. Little things that kind of push you into the classic zone, you could say. But yeah, I don't really even know what else to say on this topic. I feel like I already talked more than I expected to. So that's my opinion. I don't think the vacuum should be a mandatory pose, but I do believe 100% it does make you look more classic. It shouldn't be mandatory, but it's just fact that makes you look more classic because they did it in the golden era. It accentuates a long, slim waist. It just brings that tiny little waist. It separates it from the rest of your body, which that's like a huge thing in classic division, just separating your waist from the rest of your body. So I think it definitely helps, but it should not be mandatory. And as proven by George, as proven by Breon, without that look, you can come in lean, hard, full of muscle, and still kind of overcome anyone with a greater physique than you who might have less muscle. So with all that being said, I'm going to go cry for an hour, go train arms for 2 hours, cry for 2 hours, and then go train back for 10 hours. And then give up on all my hopes and dreams because I will never have a back like Breon, George, or Steve, so cry me a fucking river.